Hello everybody, welcome back to the works. I'm all caffeined up and I'm ready to do another video. So what I'm going to be doing here is another video on the 2800s, yes, but I'm going to do a full, super detailed thing with a much better camera. Now, of course, I said in the last video that it was 4K. It was going to be 4K on the Heisler build, but the reason why it wasn't was because I had to balance it out with the rest of the footage that wasn't 4K. So yeah, but this one is going to be a full 4K video, getting all the detail and all the information regarding the ALW 2800s and the rest of the entire series of the 2800s that I have in store, or at least the ones I am working on at the moment, and, just kind of about that, why it's such a great kit to start out with, and why it's a great, all that. So let's just get right into it. Now, the Apogee Locomotive Works 28-tonners, box cabs, and the B units are both freelance locomotive kits. They are designed to look nice, and something that you could put on a railroad, a model railroad, without it being too whimsical and far outy. But it's still a locomotive that's, looks nice, looks like something that could have happened. And there's a ton of examples of little box cab locomotives out there. GE did quite a few. Tons of other small industrial locomotive companies have done these, and mine is kind of a what if Apogee Locomotive Works was a real locomotive works, kind of like Porter or Davenport or whatnot. Baldwin Locomotive Works, all that fun stuff. But, Apogee Locomotive Works. And I put a lot of detail into these models to kind of make them look as nice as possible, including the full detailed, and well, not full, but, like the detailed interior for the walls, interiors, and all that. A little cabinet in there, desk. Pretty cool stuff. I'm going to go over the whole kit itself and why I did it the way I did, and some reasons why it's just a really fun kit in general. Now, I designed the locomotive with 3D printing in mind, because it's not much different producing a kit when you're designing it, except you gotta keep in mind how you manufacture it. If I did this with resin casting, it would be a whole lot more of different separate parts, like maybe the walls would be separate, maybe the frame would be separate, maybe I'd have to do a whole lot more engineering around getting the parts together, and there's a lot of stuff that I would not have been able to do the way I've done. With 3D printing, there is no mold, so I don't have to worry about getting the components stuck in the mold. I probably would not be able to do this pantograph in a mold, because it would get stuck in the mold, and then, there you go. So there's a few things that I was able to do. There's a lot of things that I was able to do with 3D printing that I would not have otherwise been able to do. And it's some of that stuff that makes this a bit more sturdy than a standard resin kit, but allows me to have more detail. There's a lot of win-win-wins here, and the result is a really, really nice kit. So I'm just going to take this orange unit here, and I'm going to show you how everything is. So this is one piece, and that's one of the cool things about 3D printing, is that this can all be one piece. You see we got this thing right here, this rectangular piece, and that is part of this whole unit. If this was a resin mold, then that would definitely get stuck in the mold, and you'd have a whole mess there, especially with that cabinet there, and a lot of this interior detail would not have shown up, or would have helped permanently lock the product in the mold. This is a prototype shell, so the sandbox is part of the locomotive. On the finished kits, the ones that are available on Apogee Locomotive Works, that is not the case. The sandboxes are separate. It makes it a whole lot easier to paint. I'll show you an example of the standard modern shell here, even though it kind of doesn't work with the lighting. This one has a bit of a damaged front end, and I've done this to remind myself that this is a bad one. Don't put it in a box and use it for examples only. But this is the whole shell kit itself, and as you can see, we got that main piece in there, which you take your Stanton drive and fit inside right there. Now, when it comes to these Stanton drives, though, they are not all created equally, and what I mean by that is that they're all designed completely different, so I wasn't able to just scale this up for the O scale or the S scale version of this locomotive, because I had to, well, I have to redesign it. I have to widen the wheelbase a bit, I have to do some other compromises with the design in O scale and in S scale, with the wheelbase wise, so I'm gonna have to do some changing there. And I'll show you why, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Here is the HO 6'6" Stanton drive. Here is an S scale 8-foot wheelbase drive. And here is a O scale drive with the same wheelbase as this one, 8 foot. And as you can see, they are much different from this guy. This feature right here is much larger. So that is a challenge involved with, making these kits. I do hope to get the S scale version and the O scale version finished soon, now that I have these. I just got them today. So hopefully you'll be seeing the S scale and the O scale version soon, and I'll be doing a video on those as well. Until then, we are going to be focusing on the HO and the ON30 version, because those are the ones I have available at the moment. Now that we got kind of the mechanics behind the unit more or less finished, I'm going to go back to the painted unit, because it's easier to see, easier to, see all the detail. Because now we're going to go back to the detail. Now, of course, on the box cab itself, you can see the rivets all around it, on the walls of the cab, there. You have a headlight space there as well. On the sides, we have these thicker walls there in the middle, these thicker panels with an ALW stamp badge there. And on the frame, this one's not as clean as this one, but we have these bolts on the frame along with, it's kind of rubber, well, not rubber, but like these little guards on the steps. We'll bump the camera. On the interior, we have kind of like a planked wall and planked floor with some structure on the inside of the wall and around the windows. Of course, like I mentioned before, we have that little desk there, and we have rivets on this rib up here, which is kind of difficult to see. But it's there, and that's what matters. The stock shell kit itself includes 2 of these separate sandboxes here. Comes with the cab roof, and it also includes little pegs that go into the coupler mounts, which would be here and here, to kind of lock the Katy coupler boxes in. There are many extra detail kits in different extra detail parts you can use on these units. This one has a lot of extra weight in it, which makes it run really good even without a keep alive, which I typically would recommend in a unit this small. As you can see, we have 4 weights down here. We have a weight in each of these little hoods. And we have 2 weights in this giant roof-mounted radiator. Both these extra wooden hoods and this roof-mounted radiator are available on ApogeeLocoWorks.com in the details section. Oh, also, same with along with the ALW builder's plate there, which is nice and fun. That's also available on the website. I almost forgot to mention also that the stock kit also includes these little door inserts. They simply press onto the inside, pushing out, and you should be able to see that one there. It's got a bit of a flange on it, which allows it to kind of press in easily. And of course there's my speaker and my Loc-Sound micro that I chose to use on this. So let's just fit that wire back in there. The cab roof simply just sits on, and it has these two little flanges on each end and around the speaker, sorry, not the speaker, the headlight, that kind of hold it in so it can't move forward or backward, and it just sits on there like that. Alright, so now I think it's about time that I discuss what makes these such great kits. Now, of course, they are simple, they are easy to paint, they are great runners, and there's a lot of stuff that you can do to modify these guys. First of all, it's typically not preferred for the cab to be part of the rest of the thing, because it can make it difficult to paint, usually, on like a steam locomotive, for example. But because of the simple design here, what you can do is you can cover the whole thing on the first coat of, well, what you want the color of the cab to be. For example, here it's blue, or on this one it's orange. So you just paint the whole locomotive orange first. And then, or at least as much as the cab as you want. Focus on the cab, overspray doesn't matter around the frame. And then, once that's dry and you do your coats, you might want to mask it off a bit, and then do any design you want on the cab. And then you let that dry, and you basically would wrap masking tape around the entire cab. So the whole thing's covered. You can use the frame, the top of the frame, of the pilot, to kind of gauge where your masking tape is, making sure it's nice and straight. And then you can just blast the frame, up top of the frame, and all of it, with black. So it's really easy to mask and make a simple paint scheme. For these, this is a bit of a more complicated paint scheme, but like I said, any design you want to do on the cab should be painted first, because then you can just mask it and then paint the frame. As you can see, there is a night and day difference between these two, and I'm going to go over that too, some of the stuff you can do with these. I think I already discussed where I put the weights on this guy and the extra hoods, but I'm going to go over it again. Essentially, you can do a whole lot of modification here. It wasn't uncommon for interurban railroads to modify their equipment. These hoods are a great example. I actually got the inspiration to do these hoods off of Iowa Terminal number 53, which is currently stored at Boone. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do here. I put the kind of doodlebug-ish overhead radiator, well, roof-mounted radiator on top, which stores some extra weight. Weight in the hoods, and of course weight down there on the Stanton drive. I'll show you what I did for electronics. I used a Loc-Sound Micro V5. I just recommend Loc-Sound V5 over any other decoder, honestly. The storage, the sound, everything on here is amazing. What's so cool about Loc-Sound over other, over other decoder software, companies, is they are way more advanced, just plain way more advanced, especially when you get the Loc programmer, because you can take a Loc-Sound V4 and upgrade the software to Loc-Sound V5, which is just amazing, I think. And of course, you can download custom sounds, put them on there, and you can get really high resolute, really high-end sound. It's just really good. Of course, we got our speaker on the roof there and our decoder down there. Loc sound speaker, decoder of the future. So, yeah. But yeah, that's really what it is. I do hope to do some more stuff with these box cabs in the future, but I also have another thing in the ALW 28-ton series as well that I would like to talk about now. Alright, let's get all these guys out of the way. I'll talk about you in a minute. Cabs. So I think I mentioned in the Heisler build part 1 that I had these frames that I was going to be releasing fairly soon that are just, you know, ALW 28-tonner frames that then, you know, stick over a Stanton drive like this. And they just kind of press tightly. And I mentioned the cabs. These are the cabs you've seen. Like I said in the video, I hope to have a whole library of cabs and hoods that people can use for putting together a little kit bashing project. As you can see, this one has the window here, and I want to make one that where the windows are on each side, and then we have a door in the middle here. And I also made a long version of it, more of a box cab-ish one. These are all wood cabs. I want to do some steel cabs in the future, but the idea is, long story short, is that you put together a little kit bash critter pretty easily, effortlessly. Good way to get into kit bashing as well. A lot of stuff you can do, custom locomotives like these, and little baby steeple cabs, stuff like that. A lot of opportunity and possibilities with these little guys. Of course, this is one painted, and you can really see what they look like after a first coat of black. Not bad at all. Yes. They look really good. I'm really happy with them. And I hope to make a few locomotives in this way for my own personal fleet. Though I'm not sure which one I should do. I like box cabs. I could do something like that. Get myself some extra room. Go like that. Have 2 hoods. Choices. So I have a lot of options here. And you guys will too when I finish making an entire library of cabs and an entire library of hoods and a bunch of other stuff like that. Fuel tanks, all that kind of fun stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing how this series goes, and of course I will be producing all this stuff in larger scales. Way in the past, I have released the Whitcomb hoods themselves for kit bashing, and these sold pretty well, despite them not being advertised very well, because I didn't have a very good YouTube channel, and all I really had was Facebook. But I will probably be making these in HO scale now to go with these parts, along with tons of other freelance hood designs. I might even make a ALW hood design. Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting, going to be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing how all this works out. I hope I can provide some fantastic detail parts and some fantastic shell kits in the future for kit bashers, model railroaders who like to tell a story with model railroading more than just running, you know, down to the day, you know, prototype modeling. Because everybody models in different ways, but the ready-to-run, you know, kind of prototype market is very well supplied, but we freelance model railroaders have been kind of left behind, and there's a few reasons for that, but it's counterintuitive because there's so many of us out there, and it's growing more and more. After all, the most famous model railroad out there was freelance, the Gory Undefeated. So I'm really looking forward to producing more of these kind of freelance options for us. So yeah, that's it. That's what I have on the HO scale 28 tonners at the moment. I'll do a video about that guy back there, the 0 and 30 version. That'll be a separate video though. But yeah, thanks for watching. Visit ApogeeLocoWorks.com. Of course, remember that until the end of December, all of our kits are 15% off, which means if you want to pick up a nice winter project, you know, I mean, these are some great options. And you can get them with a drive included, of course. And yeah, you can get separate detail packs included with the kit also. So you can get a gas mechanical shell kit, or, well, detail set, or you can get an electric detail set. There's a lot of options. You can get it included with the drive again, like I said. You can also get the B units, which I forgot to mention in this video. But yeah, here they are. Pretty nice little B units. This one doesn't have the hood on it, but yeah. So yeah, thanks for watching. I will see you next time. Be sure to share this video, and yeah, well, see ya.